When asked if the recent hurricanes changed his views on climate change, the president pointed to storms in the 1930s and 1940s. Meg Kelly/The Washington Post, "We've had bigger storms than this. And if you go back into the 1930s and the 1940s and you take a look, we've had storms over the years that have been bigger than this. If you go back into the teens, you'll see storms that were as big or bigger. So we did have two horrific storms, epic storms. But if you go back into the 30s and 40s and the teens, you'll see storms that were very similar or even bigger, okay?" President Trump, remarks to White House reporters on Air Force One, September 14, 2017. On August 25, Hurricane Harvey made landfall on the Texas Gulf Coast. From August 25 to August 31, the Category 4 hurricane unleashed 50 inches of rain in some areas, leaving the swath of the Gulf Coast underwater. Then, on September 6, Hurricane Irma tore through the Caribbean before making landfall in Florida on September 10. The concurrence of these two record-setting storms prompted many scientists to highlight climate change's role in increasing Harvey and Irma severity. On November 6, 2012, President Trump had tweeted that climate change was a hoax made up by the Chinese to make U.S. manufacturing non-competitive. Since becoming president, reporters have unsuccessfully tried to clarify Trump's position on the issue. When asked if Harvey and Irma may have altered his views, Trump dismissed the idea, claiming we've had bigger storms than this, referring to storms in the 1930s and 1940s as well as the teens. The fact-checker takes no position on whether human activity plays a role in climate change, so we won't wander into murky waters and attempt to address a link between Harvey and Irma and climate change. But we thought it prudent to examine Trump's dismissal on the grounds there were bigger storms in the past. Hurricanes are rated on a scale, and their damage is measured in terms of dollars, which means there is plenty of data to compare storms and possibly assess the president's claim. The president said the United States has experienced bigger storms. But bigger could mean any number of things. When asked for Trump's source of data, White House officials pointed to a 2011 report by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. The report ranks the deadliest, costliest and most intense tropical cyclones in the United States between 1851 and 2010. It is important to point out that from 2006 to 2014, no major hurricanes made landfall in the United States. However, in 2012, Hurricane Sandy, a post-tropical cyclone, struck the New York and New Jersey, causing major damage. The White House highlighted a table in the report that lists a hurricane in the Florida Keys in 1935 as the most intense hurricane with respect to its central pressure at the time of landfall. Two hurricanes in the teens, one hurricane in 1947, and one from 1932 also top the list. How do these storms compare to Hurricane Irma and Harvey? Both Irma and Harvey were more intense with respect to pressure than the 1947 hurricane. Irma ranks as the seventh most intense hurricane, eclipsing the 1915 storm and coming in 2 points shy of the 1919 storm. The 1935 hurricane still claims the top spot. The table below is adapted from the NOAA report to include Hurricane Harvey and Hurricane Irma. While it's clear more intense storms, with respect to pressure, have touched down in the United States, it is unclear why Trump singled out storms from the 30s, 40s, and teens. Adding the decades muddles the accuracy of Trump's claim. Furthermore, pressure is just one measure of the bigness of a storm. The report also ranks the hurricanes with respect to the cost of the damage inflicted, and the intensity of the storm doesn't necessarily translate into more damage. The NOAA report points out that a large portion of the damage caused by the top 30 costliest hurricanes was the result of inland flooding. And, as sea levels rise, the storm surges generated by hurricanes move further and further inland, resulting in more flooding. In the case of Hurricane Harvey, the storm triggered what scientists call a 1,000-year flood, meaning in any given year there is a 0.1% change a flood of this scale will happen. Once the storm finally subsided on September 2, it was estimated to have dropped 33 trillion gallons of water on Texas, Louisiana, Tennessee, and Kentucky. In 2005, Hurricane Katrina, one of the costliest storms to date, left 80% of New Orleans underwater after the storm surge broke through the city's levees. Additionally, the NOAA report notes that development along the U.S. coastline also paves the way for more damage. A 2013 report from NOAA showed a 39% increase from 1970 to 2010 in the number of people living along the coast. During that same period, the total U.S. population increased 52%. As of 2010, 39% of the U.S. population lives in a shoreline county. By 2020, 10.